Hey, it's Nudia in the afternoons here on Vocalo Radio, Chicago's urban alternative. I'm so excited right now. I'm getting to chat with one of my favorite artists that we play. I was playing her song Far Away earlier in my show today. And so we have right now Jessie Reyez with us. Hey.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, so 2 sold out shows here in Chicago. How are you feeling?
Happy. I just ate some good food. I saw some yesterday because I got people that I love that live here in Chicago too. Like outside of the city, it's also people from here that hold a special place in my heart. So I'm just happy. I'm in a great mood. Great day.
I know. So I know just a backstory, you're just coming from sound check, and so we're getting you in the middle of everything. And I heard that your show last night, which was Tuesday night, I heard there were some tears in the audience. I heard there was a lot of emotions. People were feeling emotional, crying. Like, do you feed off that type of energy from your crowd?
Feed off of it. It's contagious because them like the tears were a two-way street. Like I definitely started crying, especially at the end of the show, because like I've spent a lot of time in Chicago, and I remember like doing really remix fan. It's like the remix Rocky and all, and just very it's very it's very beautiful to feel at home in a city that's not yours, where you've never lived in, but also to be able to have marks of progression so like deeply drawn in the line. Oh, Lincoln Hall, and then shop like what's it called? Shubas? Like it's just insane. And a lot of the people, like when I say that I have friends here and people that I owe a lot to, that like helped me early in my career, come to these moments where like the first show might have been like 30 people that might have known, and then the next 200 cap room, and then the next show was 600, and then to have it double, and now 2 nights sold out. It's beautiful in and of itself to have happened. I'm in awe, but it's also really beautiful to be able to share it with people, with people that have been with me all the time.
I love that you say that. I love when artists come to a venue and they told you they're like 3 years ago there was 30 people in here. Okay. And you're like, now y'all are all over each other, all upon each other because it's packed in here. So I love hearing stories like that. And it's so funny because I was, earlier this week I was watching your Tiny Desk concert. We are a part of NPR. And like I believe you started off with Mood, right? That was the first song you performed in the Tiny Desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, my hormones were hormoning something. I started tearing up. And my intern came in the office and he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Mind your business, okay?" No, I'm not okay. But I was like, I know we're inside. I don't know, allergies, something in the wind. I was like, it was so, you sing with so much emotions. So when I wasn't shocked when I heard that people were getting emotional at your shows, especially this album, Yessie. It is you seem so raw and open with, like so many things, like especially I feel like, heartbreak and things like that. Are those difficult to write about? Is it like, do you feel like you're kind of naked a little bit when you're being so open and honest?
Mm, I feel like I've been consistent with my like with how I talk about my truth and how I talk about what I've been through from since like my first project. I don't think that's changed very much. But what I think changed is that ironically now I feel more open when it comes to, for lack of a better word, like the positive side of love, and standing in joy still make you cry and can still just like, pull at your heartstrings just for different reasons. Um, but before, I don't think I wasn't a very present person, and I'd ruminate a lot, whether it be like, whether if it was on ruminating on the past, being worried about the future, messing up now, like messing up being present and just living my life now. So I feel like because I've done that, it's almost like I'm not as identified with my pain as I used to be. And before I'd be vulnerable, heartbreak, and I'd be vulnerable with that. And eventually it became comfortable to be vulnerable there because I was so identified with it. But when I feel like I'm still healing, but I feel like I'm in a much better place. And when I made that shift into becoming more present, I was given the opportunity to challenge, be more vulnerable outside of that space and more vulnerable with openness and just not as much sadness and not as much heartbreak, and also taking more risks when it comes to my intuition. If I wanted an 11 song album and someone wanted 18, it was just a hard no. If someone really thought that this song needed more production and it was a hard no from my gut, then it was a hard no. And just things like that, I feel like I've grown into more. But the vulnerability, I think, has just been a constant from the beginning. It's just a different kind of vulnerability now.
I know you said before that the studio is pure and the stage is where you're present, right? Something like that. And I did have a question because I think I went to a Summer Walker show. I don't know if you listen to summer any summer songs. But like on stage, she's like, I know y'all want to hear some of these songs, but like they hurt me to perform. Do you ever feel that way with your songs?
Yeah. Well, you know what's nice is getting to the point where they don't hurt anymore. That's what's nice. It sucks when it hurts, but my God, does it ever feel vindicating? Like you feel not vindicated, but you just feel like you've just been able to like climb a mountain. You know? Finally, like something doesn't hurt. It's just so lit. It's such a nice place to be in. And on the other side of it, what's wild is that when they hurt, but you've been able to see some success, that means that people are singing it back to you. That's a whole other beast, because then even if it hurts inside so bad and you're on the verge of tears and you're trying to keep your throat relaxed so that your vocal cords don't start to constrict and fuck up your melody, and you're just inside a mess, it just hurts and you're trying not to cry, and then all of a sudden all this pain is immediately contrasted with what's on the outside, and it's these beautiful people singing back to you with smiles on their faces, so present, just so much love in the room and so much support. And so having that, it's like just this glass, and having both truths exist at the same time so loudly and so potently is a cosmic joke and a cosmic blessing and just a wild experience, because then you end up opening your end up crying, but you're crying for two reasons at once, you know?
Yeah,
like one, I sad.
No, I was gonna say, I feel like this is definitely like for everyone listening, this is some like 30 plus wisdom. And I love listening to artists in their 30s because you've gone through some stuff. Like when you've gone through the valleys, the peaks, the ups and downs, like you've kind of made it and you're like really mature. And so you could speak about things like differently, and I feel like your perspective changes because you've been through so much more than I'm sure you look back at your work when you were in your mid 20s or early 20s and you're like, wow, like I've been through so much more stuff since then.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It also helps to have friends that are like outside of songs, like songs and friends almost like one and the same. Because sometimes a friend will tell you something about yourself that you didn't know. The same way a song will tell you something about yourself that you didn't know. It's easy to hear it outside perspective. But yeah, it's definitely wisdom. Wisdom years is a real, and it'd be a life hack if we could learn from other people's mistakes. But what's the saying? Those who hear must feel. Sometimes you got to go through it to learn it.
Yeah, a lot of us don't listen. Like when people give us advice, we're like, okay, it's not that I don't believe you, but I just need to get hurt on my own. I need to find out the hard way on my own.
Yeah.
So of course your new album, Yessie, I feel like especially during, Hispanic Heritage Month and things like that, like I feel like everyone wrote about you. Everyone's writing about this album. Everyone's talking about like possible, you know, Grammy talk there's going on, and you've been nominated for a Grammy before. Like, would it mean a lot to you to get an award like that? Like, what is exactly, you know, because you seem so chill. You seem like, oh, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, like, it's all good.
No, I want to win.
Yeah.
I want to win. But are a little different. But I want to win, and I want to win more. So there's a list of goals that I have, and honestly, I used to smoke a lot of weed a long time ago, and I had a friend trying to join me at the time, and he was also born a Christian at the same moment, and he had made a decision that he was going to sacrifice no weed, no drinking, no sex, he just gonna abstain from a lot and do that until he. And I was like, well, that's so inspiring. Like, he inspired me, and I was like, so I thought about it, and I was like, well, if music means so much to you, then maybe you can use that. And so I spoke to God, and I made a deal with this guy, and I said, I'm not going to smoke weed until I hear my song on the radio. That year, and it wasn't even like as an artist, you understand everything that's behind it, or you're in the industry, like there's marketing, you have to like service the song to radio, you have to service it to DSPs, like there's all. But at the time, and this is like damn near, this is a long time ago. At the time, I was bartending, and I had no management, no label, no nothing, barely any music out. I was busking on the street was my extent of like doing live shows and like open mics. And I had met this DJ at the bar that I worked at, and this DJ also went live to air. And so we ended up linking, and we made music at the studio. And one day he put my song on the radio, and that was within the year of me making that. It was God that sacrificed. And so then I spoke to God again. I was like, Lord, thank you, thank you. I'm not gonna smoke weed. I was like, I'm not gonna smoke weed until I book my first show. Next year I booked my first show. I'm not gonna smoke weed until I sell out my show. The next year I sold out my first show. So that kept going till it sold out tour. And then finally I was like, well, what can I do that's like something that sits like the epitome. And at the time it was Grammy for me. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to smoke again until I win a Grammy. So it's been a few years. So for me, I don't think I'm ever going to become like a full-fledged stoner again, because it's just not where my head's at, and it's just not where my head's at. But to smoke a little personal joint again will be great.
Are you going to do it like at the Grammys, like in the Grammy bathroom? Like you're just like, this is for me. And I did like, you know, I've read that you know, you've talked about your parents so much, and that they listen to like cumbia and salsa. Like when you were growing up, did you appreciate that music? Because I feel like for me growing up, like my grandma would bump Aventura when she was dropping me off at school, and I'm like, yo, can we just turn this down a little? And then now I bump it for myself, you know? So I feel like as you get older, you embrace certain things. Was that the same for you, or have you always embraced like the music that your parents played?
I always loved it. I was a little 5-year-old singing songs around all my older cousins, and they'd be like, how the fuck? I'd just be singing these old ass songs like, un amor como no hay otro igual, que me hizo comprender todo. That song's damn near 200 years old. That song's old as hell, and I just remember and I just loved it. I loved it. I've always gravitated towards old school music though. Like even to this day, like I love old school music, and I always appreciated it. What I didn't appreciate was the food. I was a little shithead. Like I can't believe that I had the audacity to be like, no quiero sancocho, or no quiero arroz de leche, or no quiero empanada. Like to even think that I once felt that because you wanted McDonald's because you were so damn brainwashed, thinking that was really good and it's Western. No, but like North American alternative to like a nice home cooked Colombian meal. That's what I came to appreciate when I was older, to be like, well, my mom's cooking is a 10 out of 10. What was I thinking?
And you know, I loved, again, this is like, I feel like this is like a 30 plus thing. Like as you get older, you appreciate your parents. And like I actually just had this conversation where I was like, I actually have my dad do the number. I'm like, how much would it take to retire you guys? And he gave me like 6 to 8 grand. He's like, I literally sat down with him and he like got out a calculator and started calculating stuff because I eventually do want to retire them soon, you know? And
Oh,
you know, and so when I heard that you retired your parents, I thought it was so funny because you said that they were low key still trying to work behind your back. Like they were they were against it.
Crazy.
That my parents are ready. Like they're like, say less, say when, and we will quit on the spot. Like they are so ready. They're not.
Congratulations in advance.
Oh, thank you. How did that feel to be able to do that for them?
Happy, but still not enough. Happy, but still not enough. Because I was a dick. I was very different when I was younger. I'm sure everybody is, but me and my parents, like, we didn't even get it was a turbulent time, and just a lot of drama, a very turbulent time, and I had my head up my ass. My maturity level was like drastic, and when I got through my first depression and I got my head up out of the fucking sand and looked around, they were the only people there. So I think that's the first time, like, it was around 1920 is when I was finally like, oh God, these are your riders. Like, this is treating them like shit, and it's unconditional. And what's even crazier is that the more I've lived, the more I've realized that, like, that's not even close to the norm. So many people don't even have so many people don't have two, much less one, that like shows unconditional love. You know what I mean? So I'm aware of how lucky I am. And I wasn't aware then. And it took me a long time. So I feel happy that I've been able to do it, but I still very much feel like not enough. Like, if I drink too much, I'll start apologizing to my mom for shit I did 20 years like that.
Oh, that's so funny. And like, you know, it's so fun, like, because I feel like parents, they naturally forgive you, you know, for like they're just so like, especially good parents are so loving and so forgiving. So like, do your parents, like, do they listen to your music? Like, do they come to your shows? Like,
yeah, they're on tour right now. They're up in the green room right now. I'm on the tour bus and they're in the green room.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so cute. Oh, and so, you know, your second show is tonight here, you know, the House of Blues sold out. So like what are some of your rituals before you go on? Do you need I know some people need their alone time. They're like, okay, I need like, you know, I need 5 minutes to myself just in a room. Like, how do you prepare yourself to go and receive that much energy from a crowd?
I drink like a bucket of water all day, and I do a lot of warm-ups, and I try not to have anything fried or anything dairy for the sake of my vocal cords before the show. After the show, I go nuts, but before the show, it's very regimented, and I pray, and then we do a team prayer, and then I do a prayer by myself, and then I hit the stage.
Oh, I love that. And so any like what's your favorite post-show meal?
Wings. Chicken wings.
Oh, I love that. You know, you need to have a Chicago hot dog though before you leave.
I do have a hot dog before I leave. You're absolutely right.
I will recommend Wiener's Circle.
Wiener's Circle.
Yeah, if you can stop by Wiener's Circle, you hook up the fam. It's real good. It's real good.
Thank you.
No problem. Well, thank you so much. And I do have one last line I wanted to thank you for when I listened to your album. It was waist is getting slimmer, but I don't think my ass is. And I was just like, sing it, Jessie. Sing it. I was like, yes.
Thanks.
That's like a mantra right there.
Let's go. Yeah.
Can I get what'd you say?
I said power of the tongue.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us, and I hope you kill it tonight.
Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.